Alright guys, you saw the title and thumbnail video. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing a 1200 Elo game of mine that I played like 2 hours ago. And to be honest, it's one of the most chaotic chess games ever. And yeah, I said to myself, okay, instead of reviewing a low Elo game today, let's just review an average Elo game, I guess. Before we begin, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and sub us. I'll really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop a super thanks. Without further ado, let's just begin. So I was playing with the white pieces, and I started off the game with knight f3. Now I know this is already a very weird opening, but the idea that I had was that I could play a gambit, and like if they capture, I go over here, then they go over here. Wait, let me just over here. Then I go over here. They capture. I capture back. They push a pawn to get this knight. The knight goes over here. The king captures. Then the bishop goes over here. Then the king has to capture again. And then I capture their queen. Comment down below what gambit this is, and the first person to get correct will have their comment pinned. Anyways, okay. So my opponent responded with f6, which is already not a very good move because, well, it kind of weakens light squares. But okay, I mean, it's already winning by 1 point for me. And then I played e4, which is apparently the best move. Then we have the response, pawn to c6. So then I played d4 because I want to take control of the center really quickly. And then they broke the center with e5. I captured. They captured back. And then my knight captured. And this is when everything turned into total chaos. Because you see, me capturing with the knight was a very bad move. I'll give you about 5 seconds to find the winning move. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, by the way, I only spent 4 seconds on this move. The move is queen to a5. Because it's a check. And it wins the knight. Wow. I played bishop d2. And they just captured the knight. So now I played knight to c3. Then they played pawn to d5. Because, well, this pawn is pinned. I literally can't do anything with it. So now I played queen to e2 to try to break the pin. Then they played pawn to h5. And now this actually gave me sort of a winning hope because maybe I could capture and maybe try to fix my position. I captured. We traded queens. Then they captured and I captured back. And then for some reason, they played the move king d7. What? Why? The advantage just... Like, originally the game was like a little bit winning in their favor, but now after this move, it's totally winning for me. Maybe this is the winning move. Well, no, I mean, I didn't really try this move in the game. Instead, I just did short castle. And yeah, I totally lost my entire advantage. And now the game is basically a draw. And then we have the move pawn to g6. And once again, the game is totally losing. And instead, I played bishop to c3. Then they played rook to h7. Then I brought my bishop over here on c4. Then they pushed their pawn. Then I brought my rook. The idea was that like I could do this, and they can't really like stop me from capturing their rook. Like here, it will be a check, 2 ways. So they could try to attack my knight, and I go over here. That was my idea pretty much. But they moved their king, so I couldn't even do it. So I moved my knight, giving a check, and now my advantage is basically totally gone. And now they just walked into all of my pieces. Why? So they just blundered the knight, and I captured it. They removed their rook. I gave them a check. They moved. I gave them another check. They moved again. Then we have pawn to g3. The reason I played this move was because I wanted to make sure that I couldn't possibly get checkmated, like, accidentally. Then they played pawn to a5. I moved my knight. Then they moved their knight. Then I moved my bishop. Then they moved their rook. Then we traded. And, yeah, at this point my bishop actually got trapped because, yeah, I moved it over here and now it's just totally trapped. They played bishop to e6. I moved my rook. They did this, which basically just means that, yeah, the bishop is totally trapped because eventually they can just like slowly attack the bishop, like with this move, rook to f7. So then we have rook to e1, and now the game is winning by about like 1 point for me. And then we have rook to f7, the move, obviously. So I captured because, well, it doesn't really look like I have any choice, and apparently I'm losing a lot of advantage from that. Wait, there's no way. No, that's even worse. Okay, very good thing I chose this. They captured back. And then we have rook to e6. And now the game is even more losing for me. Wow! And then we have bishop captures, pawn captures, rook to d8. I defended. Then they've played king b6, and now the game is totally losing for them. Well, no, not totally losing, but like losing. I captured this free pawn. Then knight to d4. Then I give them a check. Then their king moved. Then I push my pawn. Now the game is totally losing. But they didn't find the move. Okay. What is the move? Well, I mean, it has to be a move that makes sense. This? No, that just makes it a draw. No. Okay, well, I honestly have no idea. Anyways, they played this move which attacks my rook. The idea, obviously, is like divert my rook's attention. I played this. They move their knight. I move my rook. They move their king. The idea was that, like, if they capture, I can just capture their pawn and not put them in a very good position. Because I can do something like this, potentially. That was my idea, but that didn't happen. So instead, I built like a sort of battery against this pawn. And if they didn't respond, if they played a move like this, yeah, this would just be totally losing. But instead they responded with this pawn move. So then I played rook to e3. And I played knight takes on d3. Well, no, not me. My opponent played knight takes on d3. And I played pawn to b3. And now, guys, there is something that I would like to mention. I only have a little more than 2 minutes on the clock. So now I began seriously rushing my moves. Because I noticed, wait, only 2 minutes. What? My opponent has nearly 5. So I need to go really fast. They played knight b4. I move my rook, obviously trying to prepare something here with maybe like rook to e6 over here, targeting this pawn, going for the king immediately. Then we have rook to d1. Then we have king to g2. Then rook to b1, obviously just attacking this pawn. Then we have pawn h4. Then the knight moved. And I move my rook over here, launching an attack on this. Well, the rook moved. And I kept pushing the pawn, and apparently this was a bad move because they found the move. Knight d4, which just forks the 2 rooks. Wow. I played this. They captured. I captured back. They captured over here. And then I played pawn h6. Now at this point I realized, okay, I have only a little over a minute on the clock. So realistically, the only way I could win, although I was seriously considering resigning at this point, yeah, the only way I could win is if I just keep pushing my pawns. That's it. Then they played rook to h7, obviously just totally stopping this pawn. And then I decided to play king h3. They played rook a3, obviously targeting this pawn. I move my king up. They captured. I move my king up again. Then they played rook c4. I pushed my pawn all the way to f4. They went rook to c7, obviously preparing something, although I still don't know what it was. And then pawn to g4. And now you can see the advantage. It went from -4 to just -1.8. And you're going to understand very soon why. Then we have rook to h8. Then we have pawn to g5. Then we have rook to h7. And now the game is an exact draw. And I'm probably wondering, GramStuffMC, how is this a draw? Your opponent is up by 4 points of material. Well, the thing is, my 3 pawns that are joined together, their attack is so powerful that they can actually destroy these 2 rooks, believe it or not. Then we have pawn to f5, then pawn to a4, then king to g6, and apparently I blundered something, okay. And then we have pawn to f6, and then we have the move pawn to a2. Then I played rook to e1. Then we have pawn to b5. And now the game is totally losing for them. Because, yeah, this just blunders a pawn with check. They played king b6. I captured the pawn. And then we have pawn b4. I got my rook in position just in case like I need to capture this pawn, which obviously I would. And now you can see I have less than 50 seconds on the clock left. So, yeah, I really need to begin rushing this game, as you can see. And then we have king b5. And I think my opponent began to notice how short I was on time. So, yeah, they began making moves very fast. Then we have king c5 after I played pawn to f7. And now the game is totally winning because, yeah, these pawns are just totally unstoppable. Then I made a queen. The idea was obviously just divert this rook. I pre-moved king captures on h7. I captured back. Then they moved their rook over here, giving a check. I moved my king over here, attacking their rook. They moved to a7. I pushed to the h7 pawn. Then they played king c3, and I didn't do this, if you're wondering. I literally just sacrificed the rook. Because I said to myself, okay, these pawns are totally unstoppable, so what is he going to do if I just sacrifice the rook? He captured. Then I made a queen because I knew that he's just totally forced to do this, which he did, obviously. I moved my king up. Oh no, not g7 apparently. Apparently to h7. Then he captured. I captured. King c5. Pawn to g6. And then, yeah, I slowly made my way across the board to make a queen. And I pre-moved the entire sequence. Just look at the time. And now, guys, I realize something. I have only 30 seconds left. So I need to go really fast. So then we have king to f6, and obviously the idea that I had was to go like over here maybe. But instead I went over here. The idea is just a ladder mate, sort of. But obviously I have to utilize the king as well, so it's not going to be very quick. Then we have king e5, then we have queen to f1, king e6, then king g7. And usually, in this situation, I would prefer making a rook, but I noticed my time is so low that really I can't risk making a rook in this situation. Like, usually I like to make a rook because it doesn't have like any risk of stalemate, but I realized, okay, at this point, the time is just way too low. I cannot risk making a rook. They play king e5, I play king g6. They play king e4, and realistically, you should just keep going down and down because eventually, well, yeah, they could like beat me by time. But then they played king d5, which doesn't even like try to keep the king in this area, which is a little weird, but okay. So obviously I just took this area. They played king d6. I played king f5. King d5, once again just surrendering another row. They moved to king c5. I brought my king to e6. They brought their king to c6 for some reason, although really you should 100% just go down in this situation. And I brought my queen over again. And then they played king to b5. Then we have king to d6. Then we have king to b4. King d5. King b5. Queen b1 check. And then king c5. Well, no, king a4. Oh, okay. Then we have king c5, then king a3, then king c4, and king a4 is forced. And I decided that instead of going for like queen a1 or queen a2 checkmate, I decided to go for queen b4 checkmate. Yay! Although this would have also been checkmate, and this. But instead I went with this one, with less than 15 seconds. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, guys, this is the whole video. Just reviewing one of my games that I played today. And there is another game that I did play today, and I'll probably review it tomorrow, or at least very soon, because I think I had a brilliant move, although I'm not totally sure. So I'm just waiting for my free game review tomorrow. But yeah, guys, this is the whole video. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and sub, as that would really help the channel a ton. If you really enjoyed this video, you can also drop super thanks, comment down below if you have any games you may want me to review. Without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one.